In a major move that is already sending shockwaves across Africa and the rest of the world, a new era of Japan-Africa relations has officially begun. One built on a jaw-dropping $5.5 billion plan, a continent-wide training program to produce 30,000 artificial intelligence specialists, and even the creation of a brand new Indian Ocean Africa economic zone. Yes, you heard that right. Japan is stepping boldly into Africa's economic future. And the question we must all be asking is Africa about to gain a new best friend? Or is this just another chapter in the long history of foreign powers using Africa to advance their own strategic interests?
TICAD 9に合わせまして、インド洋アフリカ経済圏イニシアティブを提唱したいと、このように考えております。アフリカの発展に必ず大きく貢献する。この実現に向けて、日本は地域の皆さん方と共に取り組みます。
This historic announcement was made during the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, T.I.C.A.D. 9, held in Yokohama, Japan, on August 20. The conference, themed Co-Create Innovative Solutions with Africa, brought together representatives from around 50 African countries, global institutions such as the United Nations, World Bank, and the African Union Commission, and of course, Japanese leaders determined to show that Tokyo is back in the game when it comes to Africa. The meeting was not just another diplomatic handshake ceremony, it was a calculated signal that Japan is ready to rival the likes of China, the United States, and even Russia in shaping the future of the African continent. But should Africans be celebrating, or should we be cautious? Let's start with the headline-grabbing $5.5 billion plan. This massive initiative is being rolled out through the African Development Bank with strong backing from Japan's international agencies and its private sector. On paper, it is designed to support sustainable development, infrastructure expansion, and help African governments dig themselves out of mounting debt burdens that have left many countries struggling to even secure affordable financing. In essence, Japan is dangling money at a time when Africa desperately needs capital for infrastructure, industrialization, electrification, and new technologies. But here is the catch. Are these loans truly structured to liberate Africa, or will they lock us into yet another cycle of dependency? Alongside the financial pledge, Japan unveiled something that might actually prove more transformative in the long run. The training of 30,000 AI experts across Africa over the next 3 years. Just imagine, tens of thousands of African youths equipped with cutting-edge skills in artificial intelligence, digital transformation, and data innovation. If this plan is carried out as promised, it could spark new industries, new job opportunities, and perhaps even Africa's long-awaited leap into the fourth industrial revolution. But again, one must ask, who will control the technology, the algorithms, and the flow of data? Will Africa own this AI revolution, or will we end up as consumers of Japanese tech platforms with little real autonomy? And then there is the boldest part of the announcement, the creation of an Indian Ocean Africa economic zone. This is not a small thing. The proposal aims to connect Africa more directly with India, the Middle East, and other Indian Ocean economies, essentially weaving the continent into a wider economic fabric that stretches across some of the world's fastest-growing markets. On one hand, this could be a masterstroke. Africa positioned not as an isolated supplier of raw materials, but as an integral hub in global trade routes. On the other hand, will such a zone genuinely benefit African producers and entrepreneurs, or will it simply make it easier for Asian and Middle Eastern companies to extract value from Africa under the banner of cooperation? The atmosphere at TICAD 9 made clear that Japan wants to paint itself as different from the usual suspects. Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba emphasized that Japan's approach was about co-creation rather than one-sided aid. He highlighted that Tokyo's priorities would be private sector-led growth, empowering youth and women, and deepening Africa's regional integration. That all sounds good, but how many times have we heard similar promises from foreign powers who ultimately pursued their own self-interest first? It was not only Japan's leaders speaking. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres seized the platform to remind the world of Africa's sideline position in global governance. He stressed that Africa must have a stronger voice in shaping decisions that affect its future, especially through overdue reform of the UN Security Council, where, shockingly, Africa still has no permanent seat. He also called for a complete overhaul of what he described as today's unjust international financial system, an architecture that sidelines Africa and treats its nations as high risk by default. His comments echoed the frustrations of many across the continent. Why should Africa keep relying on external powers to validate its worth?
For more than 3 decades, TICAD has embodied the spirit of multilateralism, grounded in mutual respect, shared responsibility, and a deep belief in Africa's potential. With the world's youngest population, abundant natural resources, and a vibrant entrepreneurial spirit, Africa is poised for progress. We have the roadmap, the 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals, and the African Union Agenda 2063. Let's co-create solutions that can build a future of dignity, opportunity, and peace for all.
Meanwhile, Angola's president and African Union chair, João Lourenço, gave a sobering reminder of Africa's reality. He pointed out that many African countries are trapped by persistent barriers to financing, with global lenders rating them as risky borrowers and therefore denying them access to affordable loans. Yet, he stressed, low-cost capital is absolutely essential if Africa is to industrialize, electrify, and advance technologically. In other words, without deals like Japan's, Africa risks falling further behind. But here comes the tricky part. If Africa accepts Japan's loans to ease this financing gap, are we solving the problem or merely reshuffling the deck of dependency? The benefits of this deal, at least on the surface, are undeniable. Infrastructure funding, AI skills training, and stronger integration into global trade networks could give Africa a much-needed boost. If managed well, these programs might finally empower African youth, expand regional industries, and lay the groundwork for homegrown technological breakthroughs. But the deeper question remains, is Japan truly the right partner to be leading Africa into this new era? Think about it. For decades, Africa has looked to the United States, Europe, and more recently, China for partnerships. The U.S. talks about democracy and security, but its investments are increasingly thin. China builds roads, railways, and ports, but often leaves Africa with debt and accusations of neo-colonialism. Russia, on the other hand, tries to woo African nations with weapons and political backing. Now Japan enters the stage, offering a softer approach focused on technology, skills, and regional integration. Could it be that Japan is positioning itself as the good cop in Africa's geopolitical drama? Or is Tokyo simply playing catch-up after watching China dominate the continent for the past 2 decades? From Japan's perspective, Africa represents both a strategic necessity and a new opportunity. As Tokyo navigates tensions with China and competition in Asia, having Africa as a partner strengthens its global influence. For Africa, Japan offers something different from the usual Western narrative, an Asian partner that rose from post-war ruin to become a global economic powerhouse, now offering to share that journey. But for countries like the United States and China, Japan's push into Africa is not just a side story, it's a direct challenge. Washington, already criticized for neglecting Africa, may see this as a wake-up call. Beijing, with its massive belt and road investments, will likely view Japan's move as an attempt to chip away at its dominance. And Russia, expect them to double down on their security-driven pitch, painting themselves as the more loyal friend. So where does this leave Africa? On one hand, the continent has never had so many suitors. On the other hand, we risk being torn apart by competing powers who see Africa not as an equal partner, but as a prize to be won. The Pan-African question then becomes, are we ready to seize this moment of geopolitical competition to demand real value for Africa, or will we once again sell our future too cheaply? The bottom line is clear. Japan's $5.5 billion plan, its AI training initiative, and its proposed economic zone could reshape Africa's development path for decades to come. But whether this new era will be one of empowerment or one of renewed dependency will depend entirely on how Africa negotiates, manages, and demands accountability. This is not just Japan's move, it is Africa's move too. Your perspective matters. What do you make of Japan and Africa's deepening collaboration through this $5.5 billion plan, AI training, and the creation of a new economic zone? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments section below. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the New Africa channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our informative future videos. Stay informed, stay engaged, and thank you for watching.